Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor, my last vacation before my senior year. It was meant to be just another summer. A royal vacation filled with sunlit mornings, laughter echoing through ancient halls, and the calm serenity of a family retreat. But this one was different. Because behind the royal smiles and carefully staged photographs, there was an unspoken truth. This was not just a holiday. This was Princess Leonor's last vacation before stepping into the final stage of her youth, her senior year, and the world waiting beyond it. Yet here's the contradiction. While the world imagined carefree days for the young heir, the reality was far more complex. Every sunset, every whispered conversation, every photograph captured on that vacation carried more weight than most could ever imagine. And that's what makes this story so extraordinary. For Leonor, the vacation wasn't just a pause. It was a turning point. At first glance, everything looked perfect. The Spanish royal family retreating to the island of Majorca, as they had done for decades. The Mediterranean breeze, the turquoise sea, the familiar walk through the cobblestone streets of Palma. Tourists gathered, hoping for a glimpse of Spain's future queen, her poise already striking, her presence undeniable. But what the world did not see was the layer beneath. The girl behind the crown, savoring moments she knew would be her last as a high school student before destiny pulled her further into duty. The palace insiders say that this vacation carried a rare mix of joy and quiet sadness. Leonor laughed with her sister Sofia, their bond unshakable, but both understood that change was coming. Sofia, still the younger one, would remain at home a little longer. Leonor, on the other hand, was preparing to close one chapter forever. And this is where curiosity deepens. What does a future queen think about during her last vacation before adulthood truly takes hold? Is it the weight of her studies, the eyes of the world, or the fleeting normality of simply being a teenager with her family? The truth is, it was all of it, woven together in ways only Leonor herself could fully grasp. There were moments when she was just a daughter, laughing beside her parents. Times when King Felipe spoke to her not as a monarch, but as a father, reminding her that the road ahead was not only duty, but also sacrifice. Queen Letizia, ever the protector, looked on, knowing her eldest was stepping into a new season of life where no mother's shield could fully cover her. The vacation days were filled with rituals. The annual photo session, carefully staged yet telling in its own way. The dinners in quiet restaurants where locals pretended not to stare but could not resist the weight of history seated at the next table. The boat rides where Leonor and Sofia sat side by side, waves crashing against the hull, their laughter piercing the salt air. To the outside world, it was charm. To Leonor, it was memory, etched deeply because she knew it would never be the same again. But the questions remain. What goes through the heart of a 19-year-old who carries centuries of monarchy on her shoulders? How does she reconcile the girl who dreams of freedom with the queen she is destined to become? Insiders say Leonor often wandered quietly during that vacation. Walks at sunrise, when the island was still asleep, gave her moments to breathe. To reflect. To prepare. She carried books with her, some for study, some for leisure, knowing her mind had to balance intellect with the art of leadership. She observed her parents closely, their gestures, their words, understanding that one day soon she would no longer just be the daughter, but the embodiment of their legacy. And yet, in between, there was joy. Genuine, radiant joy. She swam with Sofia, splashing like ordinary sisters. She played with their family dog, unguarded in those private moments the cameras never captured. She enjoyed music, laughter, and even moments of rebellion, the small ones every teenager has, except hers would never reach the headlines. But here lies the emotional weight. This vacation was not only about family bonding. It was a farewell. A farewell to innocence. A farewell to the final strands of childhood. And perhaps, even a farewell to the version of Leonor the world thought it knew. Because when she returned, the senior year would not just be another academic step. It would be the threshold to her future. The last stretch before stepping firmly into her destiny. Every assignment, every examination, every moment of study would be shadowed by the knowledge that beyond the school gates, history awaited. And so the loops continue. Did Leonor feel fear? Did she feel excitement? Or was it something far deeper, a quiet acceptance that her path, though heavy, was hers to walk? Observers noted that during this vacation, her demeanor changed subtly. She carried herself with more composure, smiled with more restraint, listened with more depth. A sign that the girl was already evolving into the queen. The Spanish people watched closely. Every photograph released by the palace was analyzed. Was her smile genuine? Was she hiding the weight of expectation? And yet, through it all, Leonor remained steady. The perfect balance of warmth and poise. The most touching moments, however, came not from the official photographs, but from the candid glimpses. Leonor reaching for Sophia's hand. The sisters leaning into each other as though promising, silently, that distance would never break their bond. The queen whispering softly to her daughter, her eyes filled with both pride and sorrow. The king placing a hand on Leonor's shoulder, a gesture both fatherly and symbolic, as though passing her invisible armor. And still, the questions pull us in. What did Leonor wish for on those nights under Majorca's starry sky? Did she long for an ordinary life, free of cameras, free of headlines? Or did she look at the stars and see her destiny reflected back, a destiny she could not escape, but one she was beginning to embrace? This last vacation was not the end of something. It was the beginning. The bridge between a sheltered adolescence and a public life that would never again allow for anonymity. And Leonor knew it. That's why every moment mattered. Every laugh. Every sunset. Every quiet word spoken between family members. Because they were not just memories, they were anchors. Anchors she would carry with her into a world where normality was no longer an option. As the days passed, the island retreat came to its close. The suitcases packed, the family car loaded, the cameras once again flashing. For the world, it was just another royal holiday ending. For Leonor, it was farewell. A farewell to the last vacation before stepping fully into her role, her studies, her destiny. And so we are left with this. The image of a young woman at a crossroads. A daughter. A sister. A student. A future queen. Her last vacation before senior year was not just rest. It was reflection. It was preparation. It was a story hidden in plain sight, one of love, duty, and the bittersweet passage of time. Princess Leonor may have walked away from Majorca with a calm smile, but within her, she carried the weight of change. And as Spain, and the world, await her next chapter, one truth remains clear. This was not just a holiday. It was history in the making. And it all began with her last vacation before senior year.